Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the Arrowverse and to a degree DC TV as a whole. So about a month or so ago, I think it was something like that, maybe just over a month ago, we got the announcement as well as just the first minor details, I would say, for a new Arrowverse crossover on its way to our eyeballs, our brains, but not necessarily our ears. And while that's a weird way to put things, it's incredibly accurate. And that's because the next crossover, in a larger scale at least, will be done in the comics. Now, I say larger scale because later this season on any of the shows, mainly Superman and Lois or The Flash, I guess, we could get guest stars from other shows, appearing. We don't know what's happening later this season for the shows though, but if that's the case, people do turn up. They'll be in like one episode and nothing major. But on the comic side, that's a bit different. Now, we already talked about the comics briefly when they first announced this thing going on around like a month ago, as I said earlier, but more details have come out which highlight more of the issues as well as where things are going. And there will be 6 issues going on, 5, just focusing on the shows that are involved, with the final issue being a culmination of the previous 5 and result in a crossover of the shows. Now, this series is called Earth Prime, and it is up for pre-order, I'm pretty sure, in comic book shops in the United States. In Australia, I can't pre-order this, this far in advance, at least at my local comic book shop. But they are coming out in like early April. So if you can't pre-order it, just maybe keep an eye out and go there on the day or something like that, or look online around that time. But yeah, it's up to you whether you want to pre-order or not. So just to recap a tiny bit, this crossover series will run for 3 months. Seems like a long time, but not really, because like the Flash will be back by that point, so you can just watch the show, and Superman and Lois will be airing. So it's not like waiting for a new episode, but it will run for 3 months, which can be a drag, especially if you're really enjoying it. But a new issue will come out every 2 weeks, with, as I said before, there being 6 issues in total, with each issue having its own story featuring the characters of the show in question that it's focusing on. While, planting seeds in the lead up to this, crossover finale in issue 6. With the important thing to remember going into all of this is that all of the stuff in these comics, all the stuff in this issue, all the stuff in this event, yes, all of it is canon to the Arrowverse and these characters and the timeline and everything like that, which surprised me when that was first announced, but it gets me excited and very curious about the final crossover issue and what it potentially does, as well as sets up going forward. Now, from memory, in the first video that we talked about this briefly, we did bring up that issue 1 and 2 would focus on Batwoman as well as Superman and Lois. Now, the Batwoman issue will focus on Clayface's mud binding itself to a local high schooler, with Batwoman needing help from an unexpected source in order to contain this muddy opponent. Who the unexpected source is up for debate, but the Superman and Lois issue will focus on Lois and Clark trying to celebrate their first wedding anniversary, but they can't seem to find their rhythm as heroics and reporting continue to spoil the couple's plans. So I'm assuming that this is a flashback issue in regards to the Clark and Lois stuff, because it's their first wedding anniversary. They've been married for a while. So yeah, I'd assume it's a flashback. But along with this, we will also learn the true origins of the evil Superman from John Henry's world. Now that is something people have been wanting to see, and it feels they skipped over in season 1. A lot of people feel that way. Well, they're doing it here, so I can't wait to see what they do. Now, before we go forward with the new details on the next issues, it's important to remember these are written by high up writers on the shows. I don't think any of these issues are written by showrunners. We know that Caroline Dreers, Todd Helbing, Phil Klemmer, and Jeff Johns aren't writing the issues for their respective shows, which are, of course, Batwoman, Superman and Lois, Legend of Tomorrow, and Stargirl. But we don't have the finer details for the Flash issue as well as the final crossover issue. It'll be interesting to see who writes that Flash issue, as well as the final issue. In regards to the final one, it wouldn't shock me if it's someone like Mark Guggenheim, who is a comic writer along with a producer connected to shows in the past and present. But yeah, I don't know who they're going to get. But I'm sure that information will come out in the next few weeks, roughly. However, the showrunners and the other producers attached to the shows, and just like Belanti Productions as well, have approved all the stories going into these comics, which is why they're going ahead as canon, because someone could put in some like weird dream storyline, some like weird shipping thing or something like that, which would be really weird. But they're approved and they're meant to sort of complement the shows. But moving on from the first two issues, it's time to go over the new details that have just come out for issues 3 and issues 3 and 4, which will focus on Legends of Tomorrow with a bit of a twist, and Stargirl. With Stargirl, of course, being the very, very interesting entity in this whole event, as well, they exist on another Earth. Now, of course, we got John Wesley Shipp's Jay Garrick over there in season 2 for an episode, and we were told it's the same version that we saw and currently do see on The Flash. So it will be interesting to see what happens there and going forward into other things, but first, let's go over Legends of Tomorrow as is the third issue. So issue number 3 of the Earth Prime event, as I said, will focus on Legends and will be written by Daniel Park, who is a writer on Legends of Tomorrow, and Lauren Fields, who I think is a writer on Legends or involved with Legends, but was also involved with Disney Plus shows like Loki and WandaVision, so there's a bit of a fun fact. But here is a synopsis for that issue. Hold on to your Bebos, everyone. Ray Palmer assembles the retired Legends for one last go-round after he learns Mick Rory's Nekrian children have been kidnapped by a group of mysterious Nekrian assassins. But is this universe-spanning mission really what it seems? Now, you might be wondering what the hell a Nekrian is, especially if you don't watch Legends, but they are like an alien species that has been a part of the show of recent, with Gary of the Time Bureau being revealed as an undercover one in recent seasons. I mean, you can see one of them on what I'm assuming will be the cover for this issue. But of course, the interesting thing with this is that none of the actual characters that are still in the show are the focus. They are all retired characters from the show and from the Legends team. So Ray Palmer, the Hawks, Mick Rory, and Jax. Now, this caused some outrage for Legends fans on Twitter, which I can understand, but the writer's room account for Legends did say that the current Legend of Tomorrow team are within the story, they just aren't the focus, because this seems to be going on while the current Legends are on another mission. So that's probably why Ray has to bring this team together, and also it's focusing on a retired member as well in regards to Mick as well, so, or Mick's children. So yeah, I can understand the anger, but it seems like they're still going to be involved in some way. Now, one interesting thing from the cover that isn't mentioned in the synopsis is that it looks like Jax is the new Captain Cold, or he's going to at least adopt the mantle of Captain Cold and the Cold Guard and everything like that. Because of course, he can't be Firestorm anymore for obvious reasons, so why not turn the misfortune of what happened with Firestorm and do the opposite? Fire into cold or ice, whichever way you want to put it. So RIP Martin Stein, but we got to move on. Now, this would be very, very cool to see in live action. And of course, this is canon. This is canon to the universe. So maybe we will see it in the future, whether it's in a crossover, whether it's when or if the character comes back to Legends. I mean, what a setup. That'd be really, really cool. But next up is issue number 4, which of course is Stargirl, which, as I said before, will be the interesting part of this event for a couple of reasons. And I do wonder how far they go with it, just due to the fact that this is a comic event, and you might be lucky if like 10% of people that watch the shows even know about this comic series, let alone read it. Like, you'd be lucky if 50% of the people that know about it read it. So you're under 5% straight away. Though I will do my best to spread the content within it around when the issues do come out and make videos on them. I'll definitely make videos on them. Let's just hope people are interested in them. But this issue will be written by James Robertson and Paula Sevenbergen. Now, James Robertson is a classic comic book writer and pretty much almost like the co-showrunner alongside Jeff Johns for Stargirl, or at least the second in charge. So I think he is like the highest ranking person, if you want to call it, that is writing one of these comics, unless the Flash changes that when their details do come out later on. But here is the synopsis for this issue of Earth Prime with Stargirl. The Dugan Whitmore family vacation is in full swing, but something sinister lurks in the woods, stalking Pat Dugan. Can Stargirl and Stripe face down the threat from Pat's past and preserve their summer trip, or will it come to a tragic end? So the interesting thing with this is that, is Pat going to be in the Stripe, or is it going to be Mike? Because we saw Mike in Stripe at the end of last season. So is he adopting that more of a mantle? I'm not too sure. But I think the curious thing with all these issues, and even the Stargirl issue as well, is just some of the plans that they see heading into this final crossover issue in issue 6. It'll be interesting. But I think, as I said, the Stargirl one, it will be the most interesting one. So maybe that's why James Robinson's writing it and handling it, just because it's one of the more tricky ones, because it doesn't exist on a different Earth. But that's for us to wait and find out. And in regards to this issue, I think we're waiting till end of May, I think, or something like that. So bit of a wait. Now, of course, we have 2 issues left. We know that the final issue, issue number 6, is the crossover one, so issue number 5 has to be, that's right, The Flash. And that'll be a very interesting one as well. I don't think it's too much of a surprise they're leaving both Stargirl as the 4th issue and then Flash as the 5th one, because you have Stargirl, which is on a different Earth, and then maybe issue number 5 is the Flash doing something that maybe connects the 2 shows, or at least connects Stargirl to Earth Prime. So maybe the Flash one involves him traveling the multiverse. The big issue with that is that by the time this issue comes out, and you know, on the show they haven't rediscovered the multiverse, it might be a bit of a bummer if they do it on the comic and then it's never done on the show again, or at least it isn't referenced for a while. So I do hope that maybe if that's the case in the Flash's issue and it involves multiverse stuff, that on the show they've addressed it at some point and maybe traveled it, or at least dabbled into it, or at least brought up the fact that Barry could go through the multiverse again if he wanted to. Like they refined it, so something along those lines. So maybe that's what the Flash issue is. It's like a bit of a going to another Earth. Maybe it is to Stargirl's Earth. Maybe follows a villain there, or just goes there some way and takes something on, then meets Stargirl, and that's how it leads to the crossover issue. You know, the issue after, if you want to put it. So that'll be interesting. As I said, don't know who is writing the Flash issue at this moment. I'm assuming it's going to be one of the head writers like the other shows, or one of the people towards the top, and maybe someone else alongside them that maybe has written comics before. But yeah, that's a wait and find out. But I can't wait to see what happens. And of course, I'll bring the info when it does eventually come out. But when we get the Flash info, we'll also get the info for this final crossover issue as well at the same time, because yeah, two issues at a time, because it's 2 per month, and the information comes out on a monthly basis for the month that's coming. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all this. Are you looking forward to this? If you don't want to read them, as I said, I'll make videos on them. So if you're just interested in learning about what happens in them, I'll do videos on them. But if you are getting them yourselves, are you looking forward to it? Everything like that, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.